Master RKC Andrea Duquesne will be presenting Secrets of the Windmill, a deep dive into the athletic benefits of this remarkable yet underutilized exercise at this year's Health and Strength Conference. Andrea, why are you a big fan of the windmill, and why do you think we don't normally hear about this exercise much?
I think that it's not that we don't hear about the exercise. I think it's misunderstood. I think people tend to not fully understand the purpose and the uses of it, as well as how to perform it correctly. For instance, you'll go on Facebook and you'll see a lot of people posting pictures of them doing a windmill, and which don't get me started on watching things on YouTube. And you'll see their spines in flexion. They've got the hand, fully touching the ground. Their weight is over the front leg, and you can actually see that their shoulders unpacked and their neck looks tense. So, in other words, 3 of the criteria of actually doing a windmill are not done correctly. What this means is, number one, it's potentially dangerous. And number 2, they're missing the incredible benefits of the exercise. So what I plan on doing is giving people some of the basic understanding of, first of all, what are the benefits of the windmill? And even if they're doing it and performing it correctly, they may be missing some key parts to it, which can really benefit the body. For instance, obviously people realize that it's kind of an advanced part of the get-up, if you think of the kneeling windmill part. And yes, it is. If you get a lot of thoracic mobility, you're getting stability of the shoulder, but you're not oftentimes taking in the benefits to the hips and legs. And so I'm going to go into some parts of that. So yes, the kneeling windmill from a get-up is kind of a progression to the windmill, to the standing windmill. It is one part of it, but getting the lower body involved, you're actually adding in a whole other dimension. You're getting an enormous amount of hip and leg flexibility and understanding how to load correctly by supporting that weight overhead, how to move in and out of the windmill so that you're actually safe and aren't risking losing control of the kettlebell. It's hard for people to do correctly because the limitations they have on the lower body. The IT bands are tight, adductors are tight, hamstrings are tight, hip flexors are often tight, and this is restricting the performance of doing a safe windmill. So they'll end up in spinal flexion and kind of torque of the spine instead of a nice hip flexion and spinal rotation. So, that's really important. And quite in just a more succinct way, what I love about the windmill is the fact the movement is an integration of the upper and lower body, and this incorporates T-spine mobility, shoulder stability, and lower body flexibility. And it's all happening synergistically at the same time. So that's what makes the windmill an incredibly valuable exercise.
One of your specialties is working with older populations. What are the 3 biggest challenges facing most athletes who are 50 plus, and what are your main strategies for dealing with those challenges?
This population is growing and growing, as I said in my presentation last year, and it should be sought after. So a couple things to consider. First of all, when you're working with older athletes, and this could be, of course, this whole population incorporates truly the older aging athlete, the deconditioned person who's not active, as well as maybe people that are coming back from injury. So it's kind of a very big kind of group there. So what you're looking at here is that they have, it's like this, you got a road, and this road is driven on by trucks, and it's got a lot of wear and tear. That's what these people have on their bodies. Their bodies are a roadmap of everything they've done to it or not done to it. So you really have to consider all that history when you're working with them. And your first job is going to be spending time probably undoing years of poor movement or no movement. And that, of course, is going to incorporate good list of what their background is and what has gone on with their bodies. But you're going to end up starting with the first kind of section will be really spending extra time on mobility and flexibility. This is going to have to be a very kind of big part of the pie. What you might find, you'll get people coming to you who have been runners or cyclists maybe for many years, and they're finding aches and pains. They're having to stop. So they think what they want to do is they just got to get that sweat going. They just, want to get their heart rate up. You have the other types that maybe been lifting weight or afraid of weights, and they want to have that sense of satisfaction of lifting something heavy. But both of those groups, you have to work on and address, obviously, the mobility and flexibility to get them moving better. And this could be simple. There's so many programs out there, and it can be very, very simple. Just incorporating yoga, Pilates, animal movements, Tai Chi, anything just to get them moving. But of course, focusing also on specific joints that are affected: shoulders, knees, hips, and ankles, as well as the flexibility of the lower body and the front of the body to keep things open and moving well. So, and this, of course, you've got to just say, you have to make them understand that this must be done daily on their own. When you're working with them, they need to be incorporated into the workout, both from the beginning and at the end. And sometimes they want to skip over it, and they don't have that opportunity. They have to really make the time for this because it's just that important. Something else to keep in mind with this population, and this is not, I don't think people consider this as much as they should, is that muscles build faster than connective tissue. So if you're doing a lot of strength training, they can build up the muscles that move the joints. The problem is that the joints themselves and the connective tissue that holds the joints together are weak and inflexible because of underuse, misuse, or so forth. They can get injured very easily because they haven't had a chance to build up to support the load that the muscles are putting them under. So it's very important, especially initially, to take it slow. And you have to take the progress of strength training slowly, building them up so their bodies can adapt. And that's going to keep them safe. And it may seem frustrating to you and to them that they have to move slowly, but if they go too fast, they start getting aches and pains. Old injuries flare up. You've just pushed it too fast. What's interesting is that ties in with this is the mobility part, of course. You just got to get things lubricated and moving. But take your time when you're loading them and let them, be a guide to how they're feeling so that you can appropriately increase the load as their bodies are, ready for it. One last thing to consider, and this is also extremely important, recovery takes much, much longer for older adults. So the older we get, the longer we need to recover between hard sets of lifting or high-intensity training. We have to give our bodies a chance to rest, which we didn't need to in our 20s and 30s. And again, people want to skip over it. They want to be training every day. They want to train hard all the time. And that's why there's such an increase in injuries in certain types of, gyms, because people are working too hard. They're not allowing their bodies to recover. And that's super important as you get older.
You have taught and trained with kettlebells for 15 years now. What two benefits do you most value for yourself that you've gained from kettlebells?
I love kettlebells for the full body strength and conditioning. I think it's true you can call kettlebells a gym in your hand. With one tool, I can address all my physical and athletic needs. I still dance, and I love outdoor activities, and I can fine-tune my workouts to augment, prepare, or correct effects that my other activities are doing to my body. So kettlebell training prepares me to perform the activities that I love to do at a very high level. And it doesn't take much, It takes, I'm the laziest athlete out there. And believe me, maybe I train 4 hours a week, and I get everything I need from that.
You look to be in amazing shape. What else do you do to remain so youthful and energetic?
Well, first I'll just say I have great genes. I am very lucky. I just inherited from my mother a lean, petite body. I'm lucky. Of course, I eat well, but I don't restrict myself. I eat whatever I want, whenever I want to, and I indulge myself when I want to. So I guess I'm, super lucky, right? But saying that, I believe that that being moderate in what you do and what you eat is super important. And growing up in a food family, I enjoy what I eat. So I think that makes a big difference because I don't feel like I have to, spend a lot of time worrying about it. So I think that's, I'm just lucky for that part. I think sleep is huge for me. And I think that is another thing that people neglect. You can eat as healthy as possible, exercise as well as you can, but if you're not sleeping, it's just going to show on your face, it's going to show on your body, it's going to show on your performance.
What 3 qualities are most important for someone to succeed as a fitness trainer, however you might define success?
First of all, being passionate about health and fitness, and being passionate about wanting to make a difference in people's lives. That includes being a healthy role model, which is not the same thing as showing off or intimidating your clients. And part of this is also continuing education. Never stop being a student. Coaches need coaches. That's how we keep ourselves on track. Second, being a good listener and a good communicator. It's a people's business, and you'd better be able to understand their needs and put them first. And third, being a professional means you have to run your business with a level of professionalism you'd expect out of any other business. Part of being a professional is knowing when you are not the right coach for a client and referring them to someone else, or if they have needs that are outside your scope of training, to refer them out. Those are also other elements of being a professional.
Well, thank you so much. We greatly look forward to seeing your presentation, Secrets of the Windmill, a deep dive into the athletic benefits of this remarkable yet underutilized exercise at this year's Health and Strength Conference in Minneapolis, Minnesota.